So if you've seen any of my posts over at Twitter, you know I like making bread, and my family loves the bread. And so today we're going to make bread, but there's going to be a challenge today. I'm going to do something a little bit different. These two magnificent loaves of bread are not what I'm going to be making today. This bread has kind of like an artisan look to it. It's basically just store-bought flour. And so this is not the kind of bread that you get when you use grounded wheat. Wheat that you may have stored in buckets, because one day you know the apocalypse is coming, and how are you going to make bread? It's not going to look like this. It's going to be a little bit different. The good news is the bread will still be good, and it will actually be more nutritious for you and your family. So a number of weeks ago, there was a comment left on my video where I was showing some of the bread that I was making, and someone left a comment below saying, hey, that's really good looking bread, but can you show actually grinding bread and having a product that looks like that? Well, I just said you can't. But today I will show you how I can grind my own wheat and then make bread. Beautiful, tasty, yummy, delicious bread from wheat that you grind yourself. And what's even more is that I'm going to do it with wheat that has been stored up. There's a friend of mine, his name is Papa Pepper, and he has his own YouTube channel. I highly recommend going to check it out. He dropped off the other day a bucket that is full of wheat, and it was packaged back in 1999, right before the Y2K crisis was about to happen. He said, hey, would you like to try to make bread with some Y2K wheat? I said, absolutely, I can give that a go. So we're going to give that a go today. We're going to try to make wheat out of some Y2K packed wheat berries and see how it turns out. I'm sure it's going to be good because, listen, if you're going to store wheat, and if you're going to do it for long periods of time, like everyone out there says you can do, well then, let's go ahead and try to make bread with it. I figure, why not try with wheat that's over 20 years old? Okay, when you try opening buckets like this, you need to have one of these wrenches on hand to open your buckets, because if you put the lids on right, they're sealed, and so you're going to need one of these. This is made of aluminum. They make plastic ones, but I highly recommend you get a metal one. And let's go ahead and see if we can open this. We may, in fact, break the lid trying to open this. I don't know. Well, maybe not. Oop, maybe. This thing has been in storage for over 20 years. I have no idea what's going to be in here. Hopefully it was packaged right, and there's going to be no insect damage. Ugh, good grief. Wow. Okay. 20 years. It's a hard red winter wheat, I can tell. It's a red winter wheat. Doesn't look like there's any bug damage. It was not packaged in a Mylar bag. It looks okay. I don't see any insect damage. No dead insects. It looks like it's fine. Actually, it smells good. It's been in a bucket for over 20 years, packaged in 1999. Let's go ahead and grind this stuff up and see where it takes us. Well, there you go. There you go. It's bread. This is actually bread. And I know what you're saying. You're like, Zach, that's pretty dense. That looks pretty dense there, Zach. It is dense because it has the bran and it has the germ in it. All you're left is the endosperm with that the factories keep in there. That's all you're used to making bread with. That's all you've ever eaten probably most of your life. You've never had this kind of bread, but I guarantee you your grandma and your great-grandma probably had this bread. All the good stuff has been taken out of the bread. There's a saying that goes like this: the whiter the bread, the quicker you're dead. I like this bread. It's very yummy, delicious, and it rises fantastic. It makes big, beautiful loaves of bread. It's everything the yeast wants to eat to make big, beautiful, bold bread. And it looks good. It tastes good. But that's actually bread. This is actual bread. And I still make some of this stuff. And a lot of people, what you'll see online is what they'll do is they'll go ahead and take the wheat that I've taken here, and then they will add some of the white flour to it, some of the processed white flour, to make it a little more fluffy. It'll be more brown, but it'll still be more fluffy. It won't be as dense as this. But again, that's kind of cheating still. What if you can't get that? What if you can't get processed bread? What if you can't go to the store and buy flour that's been processed? Because the flour that your great-grandparents bought was this stuff. Your great-great-grandparents was this stuff. And, not to mention, this is over 20 years old. The wheat that I made this with is 20 years old. And I'm telling you, it smells delicious. It's so good. It is so good. Oh. 20 years. Over 20 years. Do you have wheat stored up? That's so good. If you do, have you ever made bread with it? I mean, actually made bread with just that wheat? You should probably practice, because I guarantee you your probably first loaf isn't going to turn out this good. Chances are your first few loaves probably won't rise at all. And this actually rose pretty well. Yours won't rise at all, and you're going to be like, what's going on? I'll give you some tips. If your bread's not rising, you're probably not kneading it enough. Okay, and if you're, I always make sure I make a poolish. You'll see me in the video put in a poolish into the bread, and that's something that I have fermented on my counter for at least 3 or 4 hours, maybe 5 or 6, or even overnight. You can do it overnight for even better results. You'll get better flavor, you'll get better rise out of your bread. And a poolish, all that is basically taking a glass jar or a bowl or something, and then taking like a cup of flour and then a cup of water and then a bunch of yeast. Throw that in there, maybe like a half or quarter tablespoon of yeast. Throw that in there and just mix it all up and let it sit for like 4, 5, 6 hours or overnight. And just let that bubble, and it'll bubble, and it'll bubble, and that yeast will begin to eat at that flour. And that's a great way to get your bread kick-started, going in the right direction. Still use the regular yeast you would normally use, but go ahead and add that poolish into it, and it'll kickstart it and give you a better result. Anyway, listen, this is real bread, and it's really enjoyable. It's still very soft. Yes, it's more dense for sure, but this is the way bread was made. And you could bake a loaf of this per day and live on it. It has everything in it you need: the fiber, the oils, the protein, the fats, everything you need is in here. It comes with the wheat berry. But and people lived on this. It would be great to supplement with some vegetables in certain times of the year, or meat in certain times of the year. They always used to process their meat in the wintertime when it was cold and the world was your refrigerator. But this is bread. This is what people prayed for, their daily bread. Anyway, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Impressive, I think. 20 years old. Thanks to Papa Pepper out there for giving me the wheat. I'm going to use the rest of that wheat, and it's going to go into my... Listen, while I have it, I might as well use it. I'm not against using some of the processed flours out there. There's some organic, good flours you can buy out there. But the reality is, if no one makes that anymore, it might be good to know how to make this. And to make it to where, you know, people will eat it and be used to it. It's okay. Listen, I know there's kids out there. I know. Who would turn their nose up at this. They would never eat it because it's not like the bread they've ever had. Newsflash, they're genius. This is what your great-great-grandparents had. And they survived on it just fine. And you will too. But we are detached from reality. You have been spoiled rotten. All right. Let me know what you think. Comments down below. I really appreciate it. I had a great time making this for you guys, and I think the results were fantastic. Check out our merchandise, teespring.com. You can find our best-selling shirt, Stupid Should Hurt. If there was more hurt in this world, there'd be a lot less stupid. And you can find that shirt below. If you wear that out in public, people will come up to you and be like, oh, where'd you get that shirt? It's why it's our bestseller. I mean, by far. Down below, you can click it, teespring.com, find the shirt. All right, guys. See you next time on the Homestead. Bye.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dean Cain, and I am a big fan of American Homestead. As are you, or you wouldn't be seeing this right now. I'm in my backyard, my homestead, where I grow lots of fruit and vegetables. Look, both Zach and I are big fans of history, and we are watching the economic situation in our country just like you are. We absolutely love this country, and it's very difficult for us to watch it struggle financially. Now, did you know that the Constitution of the United States, in Article 1, Section 10, only allows for legal currency to be minted in gold and silver? I bet you didn't. I wasn't aware. But our founders, in their wisdom, they understood that this was the true way to build a solid financial foundation for this new nation. And they were right. They were dead right. These principles rocketed the industry and the economy that made the United States the powerhouse that we now enjoy. However, today, the US dollar, it's not backed up by anything of real value. And here we are. Now, our friends at Genesis Gold Group are helping people stuck in 401ks, IRAs, and anyone else who's watching their hard-earned wealth teeter on the edge of oblivion by moving their money out of risky paper-denominated assets and into physical precious metals like gold and silver. You can touch it. I'm doing it myself. So is my sister. Call Genesis Gold Group today and let them help you develop a plan to safeguard your assets. It's simple. You can call the number on the screen or visit them at genesisgoldgroup.com. And I will see you next time on the homestead with my dogs and all the fruit that I grow. Look at all this good stuff. You know, we got nectarines. More dogs coming down. If you get cut, we got some aloe vera for you. What I do need, though, is chickens. I need chickens because eggs are about the same price as gold right now. Anyway, see you on the homestead.